January 1st, 2026. It's a new day, it's a new opportunity. And I want to talk about 7 books that, one, I wrote, so a little self-promotion, but also that have prompted me to improve myself, that I've come back to in 2025, that have given me motivation, insight, perspective, and faith. And so the first one is the Stability Equation. I put this book out last year, and it's really a combination of the pillars, 7 pillars of ownership, mindfulness, movement, boundaries, connection, sleep, and faith that I found helpful to help push me, build me, pull me through a tough time in my life. And I highly recommend it. It's a quick read. Of course, I wrote it, so I'm biased. But it contains elements of the other books I'm going to talk about. And really what it is a practical guide of if you're in a tough place, if you're feeling anxious or depressed or lost, or you're in midlife, or you're young and you think you aren't where you're supposed to be, this can help you start. And the first of the pillars that I talk about in that book is ownership. And if you've ever heard of Jocko Willink, you know that's his big thing. But ownership goes beyond him and before him, and he's one to say that. But the first book I'm going to talk about that's not mine is from him. And it's not Extreme Ownership, and it's not The Dichotomy of Leadership. It's the Field Manual. Discipline equals freedom field manual. Because the first thing you have to develop is the discipline to get up each day, to get some exercise, to keep going when you don't feel like you want to. And what this book does and what it's done for me, and particularly the audio version, so I recommend that on Spotify or wherever you listen to those, is this is the friend that is going to know BS you on getting up and not eating like crap and maybe not overindulging in the foods and the alcohol and whatever else it is. And it's got practical workouts and things like that. But this is a very no-nonsense guide, a place to start. And it's a good builder of mindset, and I highly recommend it. The second are 2 books together, but the concept is the same. The first is about Wim Hof, and the second one is What Doesn't Kill Us by Scott Carney, who's trained in Wim Hof in both breathing and cold and doing hard stuff. And that's the essential of these is you learn Wim Hof, and if you know about him, there's a breathing technique where you breathe in and out 30 times. You do that 3 times. You hold your breath. I do this very often. I believe it's helped my lung capacity. It's also helped my mind, because even sitting on a couch when you're holding your breath, it's you against you. And then the cold has helped mold me, shape me, push me, right? And Scott Carney talks about that. He's also done some other amazing things. The cold is the great equalizer, right? It's kind of like pull-ups in water. Pull-ups are very hard. A lot of people can't do them. Water, some people can't swim. They get nervous in it. The cold makes your mind go crazy, whether it's a cold shower or a cold plunge, and I do both. But it can also reset you. It can shock your system to reset. And don't just jump into it. Start, shower a little bit colder. Don't just jump into 32-degree water. You have to build it up. What I found for me, in addition to the physical benefits of reducing inflammation and just pain, right? You're sore, I do jiu-jitsu, I lift weights, I slept wrong, hurt my back, whatever. You're in the cold, it's just like an ice pack. But I sit there and I control my breath more, right? I control my mind more. I can look out for me into the woods. That's where my cold plunge is, as I look out on the mountains, which is nice. But even in the cold shower, right? Everything in my body says, get out, get out. But afterwards, I feel refreshed. I feel invigorated. And that's what I want for you, because it's an amazing feeling. You will find through the Wim Hof breathing, through cold exposure of some level, that you're able to push yourself a little bit more, that you're also able to calm yourself down when you feel like you can't. You can control your breath more. If you start to breathe and you get nervous about a situation, breathing techniques, being used to being in the cold when you have to slow your breath down, helps in every other aspect of your life. Stress at work, stress at home. Doesn't make you perfect, but it does make a big difference. The other book, and I do talk about this in the Stability Equation, is Lost Connections by Johan Hari. And I bring this one up, not all the books that I talk about in that, because it's 2026. We're remote, we're hybrid, we're online, we're in person less, but human connections matter. And we can have human connections, right, at a distance and things like that. But a big thing of what Johan Hari talks about is folks that say they are chronically depressed or act chronically depressed or just accept that they're chronically depressed or have depression or whatever variation of the word you want to talk about. It's because they isolate themselves largely. They don't have a purpose. They're not connected to their community, right? But he proves and he shows, right, at least his theories and what I believe in, and he does it in a very good way, is that if we stay connected and we don't accept where we are, and we don't accept the pills over skills, we reverse that and develop skills over pills, right? Because people are depressed or anxious, and doctors go, here you go, take this, right? Now you take more and take more. But we need to build ourselves up a bit. So taking that ownership and putting ourselves through some hard things and finding connections we didn't have, whether it's with people you already know, you don't know, that you want to get to know. Real connections, not faux ones. Doesn't matter how many followers, how many people you're connected with. Who are the people you would actually hang out with that you're connected with? That, I think, is the big thing to consider when we connect online. This book I've read 4 times, and it's Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And this, above all books, gives me the perspective in life when I'm having a hard time, or I think it's, woe is me, my life is so hard. Because I always think about one part in the book where Frankl is working with a work crew of captured, interned Jews in a concentration camp with Nazis standing over them, and it's freezing cold. They don't have winter outfits, but they're there to survive, and they push through, and they know someone's there, and if they slow down, they'll get shot or beat. And to me, that's an ultimate perspective on how hard is my life when I'm in this heated house. I'm on the internet, right? When I complain of how hard it is, my paycheck shows up on time, my food is here. If you're facing those issues, then your perspective is certainly different than mine. We all have different perspectives. We're in different places in life. Man's Search for Meaning helps give insight. It also gives insight into keeping and having your faith when you're in the worst of situations. I mean, Frankl's whole family was killed. He went to 4 different concentration camps thinking you're going to die each day. And then he made it. And then he shared his experience, and he shared his perspective. And it's an extremely eye-opening and powerful book, just not only in the way it's written, but what it's about and what he talks about. And then he develops a whole thing called logotherapy, right? That is about the human experience and finding that meaning. And he quotes Nietzsche about, those that have their why can figure out any how. And that's a key. Why? Why do you want to change? Why do you want to do something different in 2026? Why do you want to not do something different? Right? And then how are you going to do that? How are you going to get the resources? How are you going to make the time? We all have time to get things done. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Bible. I have the Amplified Bible, which I heard about from Joyce Myers. It's kind of like the Bible for dummies for me, is what I call it. Because if you've started to read the Bible like I did, like straight from the front, it's very hard to read. It's very confusing. You don't know what's happening. So what I found, and what is very helpful for my faith, not just a religion I, ascribe to, is to think about what's a problem I'm facing, and then look up, what part of the book of the Bible addresses that. And it's amazing how helpful the words are. It's, one of the pillars I talk about in the stability equation is meditation. It really is a meditation when you read through this book and read specific Psalms or Proverbs or, different books from the different disciples or other folks in the Bible. And it's an amazing book. So I highly recommend the Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual from Jocko Willink, the Wim Hof Method from Wim Hof, What Doesn't Kill Us by Scott Carney, Lost Connections by Johann Hari, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and then the Bible. I have the Amplified Holy Bible large print because my eyes are getting a little bit older. But these are just books, right? These are books that will give you information. They'll bring emotions up. They'll give you thoughts. But the action is completely up to you. It's the first day of a new year, and this is the time for you to take that action, for you to decide, I'm going to get a new job. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to get healthier. I'm going to stop doing these other things, right? Because change isn't just what we're going to start doing. It's what we're going to stop doing. I know I have missed my list of things that I'm going to keep doing and build on, and things that I'm going to try to improve on or stop doing. And I talk about that in the stability equation as well. If you're interested in reading more, it's on Amazon, paperback, hardcover, ebook, and audiobook, The Stability Equation, 7 Pillars for a More Balanced Life. You can listen to me and guests that I have, particularly this series that's coming up through spring on the New River Valley in Virginia of the People Process Progress podcast. I have the People Process Progress YouTube channel, which is where you're watching me right now, so thank you. Subscribe and share if this helped you, if it helps others. Workout videos, jiu-jitsu after action reports, cold plunge, so you can get a sense of what it's like going through that process. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram, or X and Instagram, I guess, right? It's been X for a little bit now, at PannellKG, PANNLKG. I wish you all the best as you start this year. Remember, each day, to get up, give thanks, get after it. And I wish you all Godspeed.